All right, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for taking time out on this Saturday morning. This is the second quarterly and the fourth for District 4, and we're so happy that we've been able to continue these meetings, although we very much want to do them in person, and we're optimistic that before the end of the year, we will be able to resume in-person meetings, maybe our October meeting, but of course, we're going to see how things are going under the new way of life under this pandemic. I am going to have to make a little bit of an adjustment to the agenda as stated, and the one that I sent out most recently to all of my panelists. We'll go to Commissioner Bradshaw when he's able to join, but I would like to go ahead and go to Dr. Moana, who will speak to the pandemic and provide us with updates. And Dr. Moana is a section chief with the Atlanta Veterans Administration, the Healthcare Division System of Atlanta. Dr. Moana, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. So my name is Abir Moana, and as Ms. Brooks stated, I'm at the Atlanta VA Medical Center, and I'm also an associate professor of infectious diseases at Emory University. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the state of COVID-19 that is caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus right now. I just have a few slides that I'll share with you, and then I'm happy later to take any questions. Please let me know if you can see my slides. Are you able to see them?
There you go.
Okay, perfect. So what's going on 19 with the virus? This is the status right now. And as you can see, in this graph, most of my slides are from the CDC or the WHO website. Each hump in this slide corresponds to a surge. So you might remember, this all started back in January 2020. And then, like I said, each kind of like big hump corresponds to a surge. So what happens with this virus as it, multiplies from one person to another person, and as it spreads, it mutates. And once it mutates and changes, it kind of creates a surge because our body does not recognize it. And then with each surge, we get, an increased number of cases and hospitalizations. And you might remember back in December, a few months ago, we had the Omicron surge. So that's like the big hump that you see towards the end of the graph on your right. And luckily now we've seen a decrease in the number of cases. And then if you look now at the US in general, so this is all United States, it's all in green, or most of it, which means that there is a low level of community levels or spread. So a low number of cases, which is a good thing right now. You see some states, in yellow, that means there's a medium number of transmission, and just very small number in orange, which is high. But for the most part, including Georgia, we are seeing a low number of transmission. And then this was just published yesterday by the CDC. It's an MMWR showing that, last year and then the year before, COVID was actually number 3 as far as causing death in the United States. So that it really jumped high after heart disease and then cancer. So it did, cause a lot of morbidity and mortality in the United States. And then if you're wondering, you probably hear beta, delta, BA2. So this is what, the CDC reports. So, a few months ago, we were dealing with Delta, and now BA2, which is in light pink. So this is an Omicron subvariant, and it's spreading now. We think that it's more infectious than Omicron, so it spreads very easily, but it's not causing a lot of hospitalization, which is a good thing. So if you hear BA2, it is a subvariant of Omicron. It's very transmissible, and this is what we noticed with Omicron. So, if people in the same household, if one person gets COVID, then it's very normal to see that, everyone in the same house will get COVID. But then, like I said, it doesn't put people in the hospital like it used to be with the Delta variant that we saw back in September 2021. And this is, showing the same thing. So light pink, is BA2, and this is the US in general. I'm showing that it's the dominant variant in most of the United States. This is, Georgia. And again, it kind of mirrors the United States. So the top graph shows the number of cases, which is dropping. So, on the right, the last hump shows the Omicron surge. So it's coming down, which is a good thing. And then the bottom part shows the number of deaths. And again, this is coming down. Keep in mind, usually we see a surge, the number of cases starts going up. And then, as physicians working in the hospital, like few weeks later, we start seeing hospitalizations and then death. So that kind of trails, and then we're glad now to see that the number of hospitalizations and death are starting to come down. And we're watching that, right now very closely. And this is DeKalb County. So, we're in the green color, which is good. So the community level, the cases, the spread are now low. Again, it's something that we're watching, but this is a good sign right now. Again, this is showing the same thing in DeKalb County where we live now. So the daily cases, are coming down. I just got this graph showing the cases up until yesterday or Thursday evening. So you can see that the total cases of numbers and of death are coming down very nicely. I wanted to show you this just in case you hear about wastewater. I think they talk about it on NPR, on GPB, and you might see it in the news. So this is something that the CDC is tracking. They look at the virus, which is called SARS-CoV-2 in the wastewater samples. So this could provide an early warning about COVID-19. Like it might tell you, well, a surge is coming, so watch for it. So if the virus starts showing in the wastewater, that means people are shedding it or secreting it, and that means a surge might be coming. And as you can see, this is a graph from a couple of days ago. You can see some states, the blue dots mean it might be coming. The orange and red dots, it's higher level of wastewater. And then if there is no dots, that means there isn't. You can see some states, you can see some viruses in the wastewater. So those states, in those states, it might indicate that, well, people are secreting the virus, and it might indicate that they might have, some community level of transmission in the coming few weeks. So it's something, if you hear that, that's what it means. Basically, it could predict, that the level of cases might increase in the coming few weeks, for instance. As far as vaccination in Georgia, 56% of people who live here are fully vaccinated, and about 64% have gotten at least one dose in our state. This is from the Georgia Department of Health dashboard. So masking in travel, I know in the past few days, it's been very confusing, even to us who work, in the healthcare. There was a CDC order requiring, masking on transportation, if you are on a bus or an airplane. And as you might have heard, as of April 18, that there was a court order to take that down. If you look at the CDC website, the CDC continues to recommend that people wear masks in indoor public transportation. So if you get on an airplane, if you get on a bus, if you are on a taxi, they recommend you put a mask on. When my patients ask me, what should I do? I honestly say, look, right now there is a low level of community transmission everywhere. So it doesn't make sense, to say, put a mask here, don't put a mask there. I know people go to restaurants and they don't wear a mask and they're sitting, next to people. They're very close to people. So here's how I put it out, you know, to my patients or to my friends when they ask me, I would say, you know, look at your own risk and to the risk of people who are close to you or who live with you. So who's, you know, who's vulnerable? And are you an immunocompromised person, or who's, you know, who's vulnerable in your inner circle or immediate circle? Do you, you know, or someone who lives with you has an immunocompromised system? Is there someone in your household who's getting chemotherapy? If yes, then it might be a good idea to continue wearing a mask if you get in an Uber, you know, or if you are on a MARTA bus, or if you're getting in an airplane. Remember, on an airplane, the highest risk is when the plane is boarding or when it lands up in the air. Usually the air circulates very efficiently. So the high risk of transmission is not there. So just keep that in mind. And then if you're unvaccinated, like you had an allergic reaction or you haven't gotten the vaccine yet, or you have people in your household who are not vaccinated, again, that might put you at a risk. Are you going to the hospital? You know, if you're in a hospital, there are a lot of people who are immunocompromised inside a hospital, then you definitely want to put a mask on. And again, in the hospital, we all put our masks on. Also remember that there is a risk for long COVID. We always talk about long COVID. That means, you know, people who have COVID, they might have symptoms after the infection that might last for some time. We've seen it stay for like 4 or 6 months. People might have fatigue, brain fog, shortness of breath, or cough, you know. And then remember the surges. So right now we're enjoying a low level of transmission, but when the surge come, I would pull my mask and put it on. So I would think about masking as perhaps a raincoat or an umbrella. I would keep it with me and then put it on when, you know, there are a lot of cases, and perhaps take it off when the case level go down. I wouldn't think about it as all or none phenomena. Again, so assess your risk, assess the risk of people around you, and just take it from there. If I'm a 30-year-old person who's vaccinated and I don't have any comorbid conditions, then I would think that, you know, probably I can go around without a mask on and I should be okay. So this is the way I would look at it, because I think, like, again, it's just very confusing these days. That's all about that I have. So I think I'm gonna stop right here.
Thank you, Dr. Moana. Thank you. Thank you. And to our attendees, just a reminder to please use the chat for the question and answer period. We've got a lot that we're trying to cover. So just a reminder, use the Q&A and not the chat, if you would. And Dr. Moana, thank you so much for the presentation. There were 2 things that stuck out to me, and I hope others grab this as well. I love your analysis of umbrella or raincoat, and to be thinking about how we attempt to protect ourselves and, you know, being cautious and looking out for the surges. Thank you so much. And then the other piece that you talked about that I just find myself fascinating is being able to detect viruses in our water. I think that's something that, you know, I'm familiar with, but I'm pleased that you talked about it in your presentation. So thank you. And Dr. Moana will be staying with us to answer questions at the end. And I see that Commissioner Bradshaw has joined us. And Commissioner Bradshaw, we know this technology, sometimes it works perfectly and sometimes we have glitches. But sir, I have adjusted the agenda and I have moved you to a little later. So I hope you'll bear with us with that.
I'm good. Carry on.
All right. Next, we have our DeKalb Entertainment Commission Director, Shelbia Jackson, who'll be speaking with us about all that's going on in DeKalb County around entertainment. Ms. Jackson?
All right, good morning, everybody. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick and share audio. And John, I may need your help with this one.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop your share. Go ahead and click on share. And before you actually click on the screen, look at the bottom left and then click there and then share your screen.
Share sound, yes. There we go. Okay, Can everybody see my screen now?
Yep.
All right, creepy. Well, first, I'd like to say thank you to Commissioner Bradshaw for allowing me to join this event this morning. I would also like to acknowledge our president, Dorian DeBar. All our incredible development projects DeKalb has landed over the last 3 years are a reflection of his phenomenal leadership and our dynamic ED team. We've made some wonderful strides over the last few years. So I want to start my presentation with a brief video commissioned by our Georgia Film Office on how the
Oh my God!
Georgia.
You look awesome! Yeah, Reggie. I mean, I'm genuinely terrified of you right now. But hey, pro tip, big guy. Maybe load up on some deodorant before the shoot.
Okay.
Thanks, Amber.
Working on Georgia film sets the last few years has taught me a lot. When your clients are Netflix, Marvel, Amazon, and Steven Spielberg, you tend to pick up on things like,
Hey, Amber, is this the right sword?
no, you're Chainsaw Dave.
Oh.
You have a chainsaw.
Right.
Go talk to Irene. Before 2008, I was bouncing from job to job, scrambling to find anything remotely steady. Name it, and I probably got laid off from it. But 2008 happens, and boom, the floodgates open. While the rest of the economy spiraled downward, I was getting job after job, on film sets of all things.
Chainsaw Dave.
Chainsaw Dave! It's all thanks to smart government, which sounds like an oxymoron, but it's true. A 30% tax credit for productions like Chainsaw Dave
Chainsaw Dave. Woo!
has allowed the Georgia film industry to blossom. Blossom might be an understatement. Folks, Georgia's the #1 film location in the world.
#1, baby.
Every time you see these yellow signs, know that it not only means jobs for people like me and Reggie and
Chainsaw Dave.
It means jobs for carpenters, electricians, plumbers, hairdressers, makeup-atiers. It's hotels and food service for cast and crew. It means I can pay my mortgage. Since I've had a steady income for a decade, I bought a house. Georgia isn't just maintaining this industry, we're growing it. Through the Georgia Film Academy, I took a course that allowed me to reach for higher and higher jobs on set. Check this megaphone! And these sets! Holy mother of moly!
That's a good explosion.
These sets are now state-of-the-art sound stages, and they're popping up throughout Georgia. The tax credit isn't just about boosting film production in Georgia, it's about boosting Georgia. There's now an entire side industry dedicated to film tourism in our state. So people can go see Reggie and Chainsaw.
Chainsaw Dave.
We get it! Go rehearse!
Fine.
Look, all the Emmys and Oscars and Grammys, all the Chris Pratts and the Robert De Niros are nice.
Bobby D.
But folks, the jobs mean more. The billions of dollars bolstering every aspect of our economy mean more.
Hey, Amber? Is this the right chainsaw?
Who are you?
Chainsaw Donna!
Nice!
Yeah, girl, get it.
And no, sorry, go see Irene in props.
Woo!
She's gonna be great. One last point, and it's probably obvious, but this short was
made in Georgia.
So that's the incredible progress we're making. The Georgia Film Office shared with us that there was a direct spend of $4 billion by the entertainment industry in Georgia in 2021. Our numbers reflect that a lot of that activity happened in DeKalb, primarily as a direct result of the activities of the Entertainment Commission. The commission was created in 2016, and over the last 5 years, we have processed nearly 900 film permits for 522 production companies to film movies, television shows, and commercials, generating nearly $900,000 in film permit revenue. 2021 was our best revenue year so far. After reviewing our numbers over the last 3 years, we feel that the industry has recovered from most of the negative impacts of the pandemic. Our permit numbers are now trending in line with our normal average for the first quarter of each year. We are just over 76,000 for first quarter 2022. Here are some of the projects that filmed in District 4 over the last year to date. As mentioned earlier, DeKalb's incredible support network across all 13 cities is critical to our ability to facilitate and review permit applications in a timely and efficient manner, and could not happen without the dedicated support of our internal partners, including the DeKalb Police Department, Chief Ramos and Captain Nicole Rutland, DeKalb Fire Rescue, Chief Fulham, and Fire Marshal Inspection Supervisor Mike Price, Planning and Sustainability Director Andrew Baker, and Chief Building Officer Marcus Robinson. Each of these departments reviews every single permit application. We are so appreciative of their support and dedication. Next, our remarkable success over the last 5 years is not only due to the great advice of our commission board, but also the passion and dedication of some amazing industry consultants over the years and our Decide DeKalb staff, as well as all the support that we get from county and city officials, and most importantly, our local public support. Now it's time to do a deep dive into our progress and determine a plan to move us to the next level. So the draft plan we expect to receive at the end of this month from international consulting firm Sound Diplomacy will include a 5-year work plan with recommended budget and clear metrics to track our success, recommendations and best practices for a robust location services program. We want to know the best way to promote our hospitality industry and cultivate local vendors, a marketing and PR strategy. We want to do outreach to all these network studios that regularly fund projects that film here and support our local studios. An industry cluster analysis. We want to know where our assets are. Where are those studios, those music venues, those digital media companies, and how can we best support them as well? And lastly, recommendations and best practices for internal operations, workforce partnerships, small business incentives, and any other innovative ideas to continue our record growth. Lastly, I want to highlight our Student Film Festival. We love working with our young people and seeing their creativity. This year, our festival is virtual. We have the link ready for you to view. We are also working with our 15 film and digital media CTAE school campuses to go to their classrooms and enjoy the video with them and present them their awards. The campuses and students submitted 26 3-minute short films, which were scored by our 5 industry judges. So we're excited about that, and we look forward to sharing their joy at winning their awards this year. We also have 3 virtual entertainment expos that we're doing with our partners. You can also view those. We'll stream them live, but you can also view those through links on our website. We have several other events coming up for 2022 that you can also participate in and enjoy. The Atlanta Film Festival actually started this week and should be a fun event. As a matter of fact, the local independent film previously titled Clarkston, which is now titled Refuge, will be premiering at the Atlanta Film Festival. That's a wonderful film. I encourage you to go see it. Also, I want to especially highlight 2 programs that we're doing in DeKalb. Sights and Sounds program is a 12-week program for 15 to 18-year-olds. It will expose our youth to film, music, and digital media. While they are also developing their projects, they will be visiting different studios. The one this year is hosted by the Plug ATL. And like I said, again, it's a 12-week program. It's a free program. Registration is open now and slots are limited. So we encourage you to register your children for this program. And it is a program that's being hosted and conducted by our DeKalb Office of Youth Services, which is under our Human Services Department with DeKalb County. And we support them in making sure this program is successful each year. But we're also doing some workshops for everybody in DeKalb. Everybody is welcome to take these workshops. These industry workshops are hosted by the Plug ATL, everything from videography to photography to podcasting. There should be 8 different workshops that are available. We have reserved 5 slots per workshop specifically for DeKalb residents. And these classes fill up soon and they will start in June. So please register for those as well. You can go to the Plug ATL website in order to register. And this will also be on our social media pages as well. Lastly, connect with us on our social media at DeKalb Entertain. You can also find a lot of information on the industry, on our activities, on our website at DeKalbEntertainment.com. You will especially find links to all of our previous virtual workshops. There are over 20 on there that expose youth and adults to industry professionals who talk about their experience and also share their contact information with you. And lastly, just thank you for allowing me to join, and I will definitely be around to answer any questions. All right.
Thank you, Shelbia. Thank you. I don't know about anybody else on this call, but you took me back to my Saturday cartoon animation morning. I just need a bowl of cereal. I love that video. Thank you. Can I just ask you, when you get an opportunity, to put in the chat any contact links so that folks can go to the website and pull down any of that information you've shared with us this morning?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to DeKalb 2050 Unified Plan presentation. And I know that Sylvia Smith is on the line, but I don't think I saw Christina, but if she is on the line, you ladies are up. Thank you.
All right, Christina is going to run the presentation.
Here she is. All right. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, everyone. While Christina's getting the presentation ready, my name is Sylvia Smith.
I'm sorry, Sylvia. Alicia, my apologies. Christina will need co-host.
Yep, just gave it to her. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Sylvia Smith, and I'm the planning manager for long range planning and also the project manager for the 2050 Unified Plan. And Christina Pastor is with Kimley Horn, and she is the project manager consultant for the project. And so I will go ahead and go through the presentation. And once I finish, Christina may have some things that she want to add that I missed on. So again, welcome to the DeKalb County 2050 Unified Plan. Next slide, please. So this is a project overview. This is DeKalb County's first unified plan, and this is a unified plan that not only are we doing in terms of funding, but the Atlanta Regional Commissioner is putting in money for the transportation portion of the plan. And this plan includes updates to the 2014 transportation plan, which includes local projects and policies, and also projects that could be considered from the Atlanta Regional Commission, and also the Atlanta Regional Transit Link Authority. And it also includes an update from our 2035 comprehensive plan. As you may recall, we did an update to that in 2021. Well, one of the things with these two plans, they've always been separate plans. And so we wanted to bring these plans together so they talk to one another and communicate better. And so with this, in terms of doing the 5-year update in 2021, we're doing a full update with the 2050 Unified Plan so that every 5 years, these two plans can be updated together. And it also incorporates previous plans. Next slide. The two main elements of the plan are the transportation and land use. And under the transportation plan, we look at roadway corridors, interchanges, intersections, transit, bicycle, pedestrian safety, freight, smart corridors, and funding options. And on the land use side, we look at land use and development, housing, economic development, natural resource and sustainability, arts, culture, and historic resources, community health, wellness, and safety, and annexations. Next slide. This is our project schedule. And so we started this project back in April of 2021. And we started looking at the visions, the goals, and the needs of the project before we actually started meeting with the community. And then we went through looking at all the transportation nexus that we needed. And then the beginning of January, we started looking at recommendations. And so now we're at the phase of documentation, review, and adoptions. And I'll talk about that a little more as we go through the presentation. Next slide. So some of you may ask why the unified plan matters. Well, in terms of transportation funding, we have to have a plan in place to get funding. This is part of our SPLOS. And then with the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Atlanta ATL, and also some of the other federal agencies, we have to have a plan in place in order to compete for funding. Now with ARC and the Atlanta ATL, some of those projects have to be regionally connected in order to receive federal funds. So although we have needs on our local side and we request funds for those, but we have to have the needs for the federal funds. We have to apply for those and compete with those. So you have to have a plan in place. If you don't have a plan in place, you can't compete for those funds. Next slide. Why the 2050 Unified Plan matters for land use? Well, it sets the framework for zoning, housing, affordability, community development, equity, and quality of life. Next slide. Stakeholders and public engagement. Next slide, please. Who's involved? Members of the public and elected officials, stakeholder groups, project management teams, and consultants. Next slide. So on our stakeholder side, we've had a series of committee meetings that we've had. And so some of our standing committee leadership meetings are with our CEO, Board of Commissioners, planning commissions, community council, public works and infrastructure. And I won't go through all of these, I'll just touch on some of them. And on the committee side, we have two committees, transportation and land use. With those, we have ARC involved, ATL, our commissioner appointees are involved, the schools, cities are involved, MARTA, and other various agencies. On the stakeholder group side, we have Civic Business Association, higher education, transit, freight, and advocacy. And on the focus group side, we have a list. These are other parts of our 2050 Unified Plan that are included. And so from these recommendations from these focus groups and our community, these are some recommendations that are going to come out of our plan. So that's part of housing, arts and culture, public safety, multicultural, bike and pedestrian trails, resiliency, retail, and health and wellness. Next slide, please. Some of the previous engagements we've done is that we've had a number of community intercept meetings throughout the county, and we're still doing those. We've had some at MARTA, at the MARTA stations. We've had some at some of the commissioners' community events, and we've gone out and we've passed flyers out in various communities. We've had community presentations. We've had a series of 3 virtual public meetings, and those were in May of last year. And the presentations and meeting recordings are available on our website. We've had stakeholders and focus groups, online surveys, and community charrettes. And we've had those in 5 sub areas. If you want to, we would love for you to visit our site. We ask that you go to www.DeKalb2050unifiedplan.com. And we're also on social media, and we have an email address, 2050unifiedplan@DeKalbCountyGA.gov. Next slide. So some of our upcoming engagements that we're having, right now we're going through having a series of stakeholder group meetings, and we're also having some community intercept meetings. We just had one yesterday for Earth Day. We passed out flyers with that event. We've had our online survey. Christina will talk more about that. We're gonna open that up. So we'll be asking for your input on various things. And then we're gonna have a series of public meetings. We sent out a survey last year asking, what time of day do you want public meetings? Because a lot of times we have public meetings at night. And so we got an array of different answers. And so the ones that came out that were high, they wanted to see meetings during the week, one during the day, one in the evening, and then one on a Saturday. So these are the three that we have, and we will be sending that information out to everyone to remind you that we'll be having those meetings. Next slide. So now I'll open this up for questions, and thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. I don't know if Christina wanted to add anything, but we're going to hold for Q&A towards the end, and just remind everyone, please use the Q&A to ask questions from this presentation. Christina, did you have anything to add?
Thanks, Alicia. No, I just, Sylvia really covered most of it, but I just want to really encourage the community to participate. I mean, we do a lot of technical work as a part of this plan, but in order for the plan to be successful, we have to hear from the community. And we really want to make sure that people understand the importance of this planning effort. We're going to be releasing the survey in the next week or two. So keep an eye out for that. The virtual public meetings are easy to attend from the comfort of your home, just like we're doing here this morning. And so we really just want to please encourage everyone to participate. Your input really matters. So.
Thank you, Sylvia and Christina. And for sure, District 4 will make sure that we publicize the meeting information on our communication platforms. And if you would, please put in the chat any contact information that you would like attendees to have regarding the 2050 Unified Plan. Thank you, ladies. Great presentation. Commissioner Bradshaw, you are up, sir. Right after you, we'll go into our departments. We've got representation from police, code enforcement, and sanitation. So I'll turn it over to you, Commissioner Bradshaw, and then we'll go to those three departments that are on the call today, and they can introduce themselves and speak briefly to anything they want the attendees to know. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everybody. Apologize for the technical difficulties a little bit earlier, but y'all have adapted and carried on, so I appreciate that. I want to thank all the citizens who are with us this morning. This is a Saturday morning. I know everybody has a million other things that they can be doing, but that you're here is a testament to your interest in what's going on with your government. Obviously, we want to thank our special guest, Dr. Moana and Shelbia, for their tremendous presentations, and thank you, and Sylvia and Christina for their presentations. Thank you all so much, and thank you for sticking around to answer questions at the end. You'll hear from our departments after me. I'm always grateful for their support. Obviously, I got to give a special shout out to John Metelsky, our intrepid IT director, for always staying on top of things and keeping us straight. So helping me get back on track this morning. And obviously, I want to thank my team, Alicia Brooks, Robin Fleeg, and Carrie Cordes, for their steadfast support. At this point, I don't know, Alicia, do we have any other of my BOC colleagues or any other elected officials on board this morning? If so, I want to acknowledge them and afford them the opportunity to bid greetings if there are any.
Not that I can see from our attendee list, no, sir.
Okay.
I don't think, John, unless you see anybody, I don't see anyone.
All right, that's totally cool. Be on the lookout, and I definitely want to make sure that happens. So I will try not to take up too much time, so we can hear from our departments and then afford questions to our guest. But I will just touch on a few things. Since we met in this forum last time, we did pass DeKalb County's budget. And just by way of recap, our budget process goes like this. The CEO has until December 15th of every year to submit a budget proposal. And then at that point, the Board of Commissioners has until basically March 1st to either pass it, reject it, or amend it. What we've historically done is amend it, working through our Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee. And that occurred this year. The budget passed at the end of February with a heavy emphasis on public safety, as we try hard to plus up our numbers in that department or in that function. And just by way of context, DeKalb County's budget is approximately $1.5 billion, which is not a small amount of money. And obviously, as we go into budget season every year, it's something I take extraordinarily seriously, as we are all supposed to be responsible stewards of the taxpayers' money. It's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. So at any rate, the budget did pass. We'll review the budget at mid-year in June, July timeframe and make any adjustments that are necessary to get us through to the end of 2022. A couple other things I want to mention. Earlier this week, we had the great opportunity to visit two wonderful facilities that will be coming online in District 4 later this year. One is the Intergenerational and Recreation Center going up at Toby Grant, which is right off North Decatur Road. That's going to be a wonderful facility. We had a chance to tour that the other day with our Community Development Director, Alan Mitchell. If everything falls into place, that should be online within the next couple months. And it'll be a beautiful facility in which we can hold community meetings and all such manner of support for the community. It's going to be an outstanding facility, and we're very happy that that's coming online. And the same day, we're able to visit the community and senior center that's under construction at South Hairston and Elam Roads. Obviously, everybody knows the center is very, very close to my heart. We got to tour the construction site there and see the progress that's currently being made. If everything falls into place, we should be opening that center in December of this year or January of 2023 at the latest. And couldn't be more pleased with the progress that's being made there. I won't belabor that at this point, except to say that the citizens of District 4 can look forward to two wonderful brand new facilities here over the course of the next few months. And then I guess the last big area that I'll touch on this morning is some progress on Memorial Drive. I think I've made it clear in various communications that the revitalization of that corridor is the #1 priority of my second term. It's a massive nut. Obviously, it won't be completed by the time my second term ends, but I'm pleased to report on a number of things. The whole idea when we funded the economic development study that Pond did coming up on a couple of years ago now was to try to rekindle development interest in the corridor. And I'm happy to say that it's starting to happen. We can report that Burlington, formerly Burlington Coat Factory, is going to be making a $3 million plus investment in the site that was formerly occupied by Office Depot on Memorial Drive. They've worked in conjunction with Decide DeKalb to access tax allocation district funds, but we're very excited about the prospect of them going into a spot that had been vacated by Office Depot within the last couple of years. Another exciting prospect, we have an international grocery store chain looking at a site on Memorial Drive. It's the grocery store chain Lidl, who's we had a very good meeting with them within the last few weeks. They're very interested in a site on Memorial Drive, and as we all know, we have to address the notion of food deserts and food insecurity. I think we all know we lost that Kroger at Memorial at Hairston. At Hairston, several years ago. It won't be going into that site, but they're looking at a site not far from there, and hopefully it'll fill a very important need in the community for another grocery store. And then I'm very pleased at the prospect of having a production facility, a studio there on Memorial Drive. Within the last week or so, we were able to tour the West End Production Park in Atlanta. They are very interested in a site on Memorial Drive, looking at an investment of anywhere from $25 to $30 million. That they are working their way through our zoning process now, and hopefully that'll all line up, and we'll have a wonderful state-of-the-art production facility right there on Memorial Drive. So what I intended to happen is starting to happen. Obviously, we've got a long way to go, but I'm pleased that the needle is starting to move. A few more things with regard to that corridor. We're really looking forward to the report out from the students at Georgia Tech, the Urban Design Department. They have taken Memorial Drive on as their project for this semester. And really pleased with the enthusiasm and vim and vigor they've demonstrated toward tackling this, but they will present to us their findings and recommendations on May 9th. So we're really excited about what they'll bring to the table in terms of things maybe we haven't considered in terms of continuing that process. I definitely want to underscore the work and commitment of our community action groups, which are citizen-led groups that were born in the wake of the passage or adoption of the revitalization plan. They're focused on several different areas along the corridor. You have event boosters, you have your film and your arts, you have your trees and trails, you have facade improvement, you have development, and they're all working toward the enhancement of the corridor. At the end of last year, I established a grant fund. So my support for them is more than just words, it's money. We initially started with $50,000 and they're in the process of establishing their own 501c3s and working out the memorandums of understanding with the county so that they can access those funds so they have tangible support for the various projects that they're working on. So really excited and couldn't be more proud of the work that the community action groups are engaged in. I've said repeatedly that what's been missing from previous attempts to revitalize Memorial Drive in the past are sustained political leadership and sustained community engagement. And in this instance, we have both. So I'm very, very proud of that. We're still working toward establishing a community improvement district on the corridor. Lexicon Strategies is our consultant on that. They continue to do a fine job. We continue to meet with the commercial business owners to move this process along. That's a long sales cycle process, but we're committed to making that happen. And then we're very proud of all the activity that's happening around the Kensington MARTA station. Station soccer will be coming online there very soon. And there are various housing development projects going on in and around the station, not to mention the master plan study that MARTA will be engaged in for the 34 acres or so that they own right there on the Kensington MARTA station site. So very, very excited about the prospects in and around the Kensington MARTA station. And just a couple more things I'll touch on. Really proud of the multifunctional task force that meets monthly regarding Memorial Drive, that brings together everybody from sanitation to code enforcement to the development authority to our police department, all working toward the same objective of making Memorial Drive what we want it to be and then some. And then of course, our community development department will be conducting a branding exercise for the corridor. I think that investment is going to be a little over $100,000 to rebrand the corridor. So as you can see, a lot of exciting things happening in and around the Memorial Drive area. It's still going to be a long, hard slog, I think, as I've said before, but I'm totally committed to it. And with the sustained engagement of our citizens, we will get there. And I think, Alicia, with that, I'm going to stop and yield back to you, and we'll just carry on with the program pursuant to your direction.
Thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. Thank you for that update on all that's happening. And there's even more, but thank you for highlighting what we're absolutely, as you expressed, proud of what's happening in the county and District 4 in particular. So I'm going to go to our police department representatives. We've got Assistant Chief Banks on. We've got Major Medlin and Major Hughes, and I'll start with Chief Banks. If there's anything in particular you want to offer up, please do so at this time, and then we'll go to Major Hughes and Medlin for any additional comments.
Good morning. Thank you. I am Ken Banks, Assistant Chief, Uniform Division with the DeKalb County Police Department. On behalf of our Chief of Police, Murtha V. Ramos, again, we say thank you for having us on this outstanding meeting this morning. With me, I have Major Hughes, who's the commander of East Precinct, and Major Metlin, who's commander of Tucker Precinct, where both of their precincts lie within District 4. So they are here to answer any questions that you may have today. We are very active in addressing issues of crime and quality of life issues as well. And as Commissioner Bradshaw was speaking about the Memorial Drive corridor, we are very active in that area as far as protecting and serving, as our motto states. And then as an extension of that motto, for as service is concerned, we are addressing homeless issues as well. So we have, we partner with, of course, community development, and then our nonprofit stakeholders in the county who help in assisting with finding food, shelter, and clothing for those who are homeless. So we will continue in that effort. And then we also are partnering with other stakeholders along with our PALS Plus unit with developing programs for the youth. We had a gaming with a cop event not too long ago, actually last month, this month, of course, actually, and it went very well. So we are continuing our efforts to assist in any way and addressing any concerns that come up. So thank you.
Assistant Chief Banks, that would be the award-winning PALS program.
Okay, well, exactly. Exactly. Give them their kudos. We're so proud of them.
All right, Major Hughes.
Hey, good morning, everyone. As Major Chief Banks stated, I am the commander of the East Precinct, and we're just grateful for this opportunity and thankful for all the support that Commissioner Bradshaw has shown to the police department and public safety and his commitment to public safety. We are committed as well. I'm a lifelong resident of DeKalb County, and I'm excited about a lot of the initiatives that the commissioner has mentioned, and we will be here to support in the way of law enforcement in any way we can. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Major Hughes. Major Medlin.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Major Medlin, Tucker Precinct Commander. I want to relay what Major Hughes just said. I appreciate Commissioner Bradshaw's support. He's very active. He's helping me Memorial Drive, and I really appreciate it. Just going to mention 2 initiatives we've done. We've added sensors to our holsters that we have on our gun belt now. So every time a gun is drawn, it is captured on video. So we'll be sure to capture any critical events we have. Secondly, we've hired a licensed professional counselor at the police department, so officers can meet with her anytime they want to. It's something that we've been needing, and it's great to have. She can also help our civilian staff, and she'll come out on our critical incidents that we have out on the street. So we're excited to have that started. And now I'll be here for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Major Medlin. Thank you. Wow, I didn't know they had that technology for the weapon coming out of the holster. That's excellent. All right, we're going to go to Director Hardy, Code Compliance.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Timothy Hardy, and I am the Deputy Director for Code Compliance with DeKalb County. One of the things we do with code compliance is, we enforce high weeds and grass. The season's starting now where the grass is going to start growing, typically from April till about the end of October. We get maybe 50% of our complaints include some type of overgrowth violation that's reported. So we'll be dealing with that. We run about 800 complaints a month during the growing season. So that keeps us quite busy. One of the things that we're working on now that's kind of come to the forefront is the pad split housing platforms that we're seeing. This, if you haven't heard of it, this is a platform where folks will own or rent single family homes, and they basically rent rooms out. That's a clear violation of our zoning ordinance. And we have been working hard to get a lot of these folks cited and in court. The best way to handle it that I've realized is to try to get in front of it. Most of these housing units, there's a construction component to it, meaning they go in and have to split the house into various rooms. If you're out in your community and you see some construction activity and there are no permits posted on the site, please give us a call So maybe we can try to, again, get in front of some of these violations and stop it before it actually starts, or they actually rent the rooms. Want to say thank you to John Matowski. We are currently working with his folks to kind of improve some of our processes and workflows. He's been very gracious with his time and his staff to help us, get through that process. We've had a little bit of turnover. Some of our folks have, moved on to what they consider greener pastures. So finally, we're hiring. If there's some good folks out there that think they might want to make code enforcement a career, we have some job opportunities. So with that, I'll yield.
Thank you, Director Hardy. And last but not least, of course, would be Director Hutchinson of Sanitation. Director Hutchinson.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I am Tracy Hutchinson. I am the Director of Sanitation. Just a few reminders for the residents this morning. We have about 4 weeks of school left. Just friendly reminder that please make sure that cars are not blocking the access for the trucks to get in the neighborhood to service your homes. The trucks need clear access, so please make sure that that the trucks can get in and get out very safely. Also, another friendly reminder, if residents have that excess garbage, please, my recommendation would be to order that second roll cart from the sanitation department. And then my last friendly reminder is please make sure that residents go to our website and just review the residential collections procedure. Is very, very important because residents have a lot of questions as to why stuff was left at their curb or what's going on. So a good start would be to actually go to the website and just review the residential collections procedure. And again, thank you to Commissioner Bradshaw for the invitation to attend this morning. Oh, and one last thing, sanitation is hiring also. We are in need of CDL drivers and refuse collectors. Please go to our website, but we welcome anyone, the opportunity to come on board. It's a great career, great people. So if you know anyone that's looking for a job, we have opportunities. And again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Hutchinson. Thank you for the updates. All right, we are at the 10 a.m. hour. So we're right on the nose to go into Q&A. And at this time, we've got 22 inquiries in the Q&A. We are going to do our very best to get a response to all of them during this meeting. However, if we're not able to do that, then we will follow up. Carrie, Robin, and myself have an opportunity to review the questions in the Q&A after this meeting, and we will respond back. So we'll start with the Q&A. All right. First question, when will the county commission start meeting in person?
Yes, I'm going to assume that one's for me. So, that's a good question. At the end of the day, that's up to the presiding officer, and then, a consensus vote of the board. One of the mitigating factors as we sit here at this moment is we have approved funds to redo the Maloof Auditorium. I don't know when that project's going to start, but I'm not sure. It's just one commissioner's opinion. I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of sense to go back into the auditorium for some short period of time and then be shut down again while that project is taking place. But I just don't know what's going to start. But I'm sure between myself and the remainder of my colleagues, the notion of going back in to meeting in person is top of mind. I always prefer that. As a corollary, I'm looking forward to the day when we can do these quarterly breakfast meetings in person again, which we've already discussed. So hopefully we'll be able to do that coming up soon. But those are the variables in terms of us meeting in person in the Maloof Auditorium right now. So hopefully we'll have more clarity in the coming weeks.
Thank you. Does a movie studio on Memorial Drive fit in with the master plan you have worked on over the last few years?
It does. What I've been looking for is, a catalytic type of investment. Again, the area around the Kensington MARTA station is is what I call the key, the gateway, but that area is going to be fine, more than fine, because there's a ton of activity in and around that area right now. What I've been more concerned about, looking forward to, is somebody willing to make a, you know, significant investment further down the corridor. The location for this potential production facility is Memorial at Hambrick. So that's certainly further down, and, you know, I mean, it represents a significant investment, as I said earlier, 25 to 30 million bucks. And if that's successful and up and running, that will hopefully spawn a whole host of other activities in and around that area. So the short answer to the question is yes, it does. And as you know, a lot of these developments that I mentioned earlier have come online, they've all referenced that study as, you know, what sparked their interest. So the answer is yes.
After the land swap last year, Black Hawk Studios is now proposed to receive $68 million in tax breaks with the state tax breaks currently available. Why is this necessary?
So
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Bradshaw.
No. Go ahead, Shelbia. That's your wheelhouse.
Well, I was going to mention that the Side DeKalb board and Dorian DeBar, all of our staff really spent a lot of time on this deal. It's been around for a number of years, but it's a $380 million investment deal. And to address their concerns in regards to state tax credits, studios don't typically are not typically eligible for the state tax credit, like the 30% that you normally get for a production. Those are really taken advantage of by the actual production companies that actually film the projects. The studios are managed property that are leased to production companies when they film those films and TV shows and commercials and so forth. So different type of tax credit.
Thank you. Commissioner, did you have anything else to add?
No.
All right. Thank
Nailed
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelbia. Next question. What's your strategy on aligning with Black youth, young adult, and underserved populations and those that may not be in an academic setting or have access/knowledge to this opportunity? And this is from the Blades, and I think this may be a question that goes to you, Shelbia.
Okay, so I think they're trying to refer to the program on Sights and Sounds and maybe some of the other programs as well. But our DeKalb Office of Youth Services is really engaged in connecting with our underprivileged youth, our DeKalb Juvenile Development Department, our recreation parks and recreation services. All of these departments are working together to get the word out. We also have a youth alliance organization with organizations on there like Goodwill and United Way and so forth that also do outreach for us as well. And then press releases are always going out, and we are working with them to make sure that we push it out on our social media and send it out to our partner organizations as well. So we're trying our best to get the message out there.
Thank you, Shelbia. Thank you. All right, next question. This is such exciting information that Shelbia informed us of, and it's a comment of I will be getting involved. And this is from Mrs. Patrice.
Wonderful.
Looking forward to it. All right, next question. Will this recording be available for view to those who did not receive, those who did not attend? If so, when? And we will make the recording link available on our social media platforms. We have a newsletter from District 4 that'll be going out on Tuesday. And if we're able to clean up the recording in time, we'll post the link with the newsletter. Otherwise, we'll put it out on our Facebook page and other social media platforms. All right, next question. Who are we competing against for those unified plan funds?
So out of sharing of resources within DeKalb County, we share funds with other counties and cities across Metro Atlanta. Federal funds come to the Atlanta region based on the population size and the ARC, and ARC is responsible for evaluating projects and allocating those funds. Similarly for transit, The ATL develops a regional transit plan. And beyond that, we have some other competitive grant opportunities in which we may be competing with other governments and agencies across the country. So it's important to make sure our projects are as competitive as possible.
Thank you. Next question. How does the county align affordable housing efforts with the 2050 Unified Plan?
Adopt the updated housing study that is near completion. Get organized, affordable housing officers and advisory committees, track data, create a strategic plan for housing, such as preserve rental units with expiring subsidies, preserve naturally occurring affordable housing, adopt workforce housing ordinance, explore public-private partnerships to develop affordable housing, increase CDBG allocations for housing, determine scope and purpose of the DeKalb County Regional Land Bank, and establish a county housing trust fund.
Thank you. Next question. What are your long-term plans to fixing the food deserts that plague certain parts of DeKalb County?
Designate a health and wellness point person. Establish a health and wellness focus roundtable. Identify solutions for areas with low access to healthy foods. Additional ideas around participation or partnerships regarding community gardens, creative opportunities like Roots Down, currently partnering with the county at libraries that includes edible landscapes. Partnerships with Market, Kensington, and Doraville started this year. And so those are just some things that we can do.
Thank you. Next question. How are you implementing outbound communications to our community? Is there an email distribution list, mailers, and space utility bills? Many in our community are not aware of the Unified Plan and the coinciding activities. And I'll just say before I turn it over to Sylvia, if you are on Commissioner Bradshaw's distribution list, meaning District 4, then we absolutely post that information on our social media and our newsletters. So that's one way to access this information. And Sylvia, I'll let you tell them about the other way.
Okay. We're working to reach out to as many members of the community as possible. Beyond those who have requested to participate, also leveraging DeKalb County's planning email list, commissioners networks, including events like today, stakeholder groups like civic and business association lists, community intercepts, and we're open to other recommendations for anything, but we've sent it out through our county. We have gone out and we've handed out flyers. Some of our commissioners have actually, some of their folks that work with them have actually gone out and walked the trails and passed them out at the trails. So we're open to other suggestions, and we ask that you help also as business leaders and community leaders to go out and pass the word out. And if you would like flyers or handouts from us, we'll be more than happy to get those to you.
Thank you. Next question. According to the Organizational Act of 1982, the county budget is supposed to be presented by October 15th and passed by December 31st. Has this been changed since then? If so, when? Thank you for your updated information.
Yeah, I don't know when that changed. I mean, the org act's been amended, at the margins in subsequent years. Whenever we went to our current budget cycle preceded my time in office. It's a good question. I don't know exactly when that took place, where the CEO has to present by December 31st, and then we have to approve by March 1st. I mean, December 15th, and we have to approve by March 1st. But that's a good question. Now you got me very curious. So I'm sure it's happened within the last 10, 15 years. I just don't know exactly what that was.
And Commissioner Bradshaw, we will follow up, myself, Carrie or Robin, we will follow up and get back to that question with the specifics.
Okay,
all right.
Very good.
Next question. Good morning. Thank you for taking my question. Prior to COVID-19, I read that free classes were available to seniors at local colleges in DeKalb. Can you tell me if this program still exists? And if so, how can I get information regarding participating schools and any criteria for senior students? Thank you very much. I'll take a swing at it.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, I don't know if any of our other colleagues on the call have insight into that. I really don't, but that's something we'll certainly look into. I don't recall that before COVID happened. I know there were classes that were taking place at libraries, but that one we'll have to look into. And if anybody else has any more insight they can share with the questioner, that would be great. Otherwise, our District 4 team will follow up with you on that.
Absolutely. We'll be in.
I can interject.
Yeah, by all
It was
means,
in an
Kelly.
AJC article. Seniors 62 years and older can sign up for free classes at any of Georgia's colleges and universities. And you do have to check with that college to see what the admission process is and so forth and what courses are available. But it is now available according to the AJC. So yeah.
We'll circle back with Ms. Brown on the specifics and how to locate that detailed information. Thank you.
Very good.
All right, next. I was just wondering who is responsible for making sure that HOAs are operating correctly?
Well, now that's a good question. So I don't know. Does anybody have an answer to that? I mean,
I can take a stab at it.
Go ahead, Director Hardy.
We typically have like an HOA boot camp maybe once a year where we talk to residents about HOAs. And really what we point out is the difference between HOA enforcement and code enforcement. So HOAs are typically governed, by their the declarant or their declarations, and that's all their rules and regulations of that body. But they also have a committee that looks at the legal piece of each and every facet of the declaration. So their legal team or their committee that governs their particular HOA will regulate how they're functioning. So it's a private legal responsibility that they should have within their organization. So there's a management team that they typically hire, and then you have the declarations, and then you have those committees that regulate that. We often get questions, at the county level as to how we enforce HOA regulations, but that's not the way it happens. The county has no authority to enforce HOA regulations. So it's within the committees in your body or your management team that you've hired.
Thank you, Director Hardy. And Director Hardy, will there be a HOA boot camp for 2022? Any plans for one?
Actually, yes, it happened maybe 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll contact our office. We can let them know when the 2023 boot camp will happen.
All right.
Commissioner Johnson typically brings in some experts, and they go through all of the facets of it. So we'll let them know when 2023 happens. If they're interested, they can certainly contact me. I'll put my email address in the chat.
Great, thank you. And of course, District 4 will post those notices as well for the next boot camp. All right, next question. When will the locations for the Unified Plan public meetings be posted or an invitation with registration link be made available?
We're in the process of incorporating edits to the website, and we'll have registration links posted within the next week or two. And so once we post those, we'll send those out and distribute those to the commissioners and everybody involved. So just be on the lookout within the next week or two. And also in our neighborhood registry that we send out, and we will also send the information out through DeKalb County website as well.
Alicia, one more thing I just remembered. I just realized the public meetings are also going to be virtual. So in terms of location, they will be from wherever you would like to participate.
Thank you. Next question. This is from Mrs. Patrice, and this is for Assistant Chief Banks, Major Hughes, and Madeline. She would like to speak with you later on how to keep our teen youth on the straight path and she's provided her contact information. So we'll make sure that we connect you all with her. Okay? All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Next, pleased to hear the progress being made on Memorial Drive revitalization plan. What are the tax implications to the current?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end of that question, Alicia.
The tax implications to the current residents.
At present, none. There aren't any tax implications yet. So that's the answer. There aren't any tax implications at the present.
All right. Next question. Who can address the unprecedented number of severe potholes on Central Drive between Rays Road and Harrison? These are areas that are not only used by tax-paying homeowners, but by our school buses as well. We've contacted code enforcement, roads, Bradshaw, and the police department. Help us, please.
So potholes, okay. Well, then we will take that up with our roads and drainage department to get those squared away. If there's specific areas that you know of, you can send an email to Robin or to Alicia or to Carrie, and we'll get roads and drainage to address it. There's Robin online. So go ahead, Robin. This is more your wheelhouse.
Yeah, so if you have potholes, we definitely need the address. If like having, hey, there's a pothole on Memorial Drive, like we need to know the exact location. And if there isn't one specifically somewhere like, hey, there's a pothole between 1 and 2 Apple Street, like we need the most descriptive location of where the pothole is. Feel free to email me. I put my email in the chat for everybody. So if anybody has any pothole or really any issues that aren't getting fully addressed, or if you want to discuss further, let me know.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. All right, next. Applause on the weapon coming out of the holster news, Major Medlin from Mrs. Patrice. All right, next. Can Officer Hardy explain how to file a code complaint?
Director Hardy.
Yes, sir. That's very easy. The main number for filing a code complaint is 404-687-3700. That will send you to our 311 operator, and they are trained to take those reports and assign them to the area officer. So that's the simplest way. I've also put my email address in the chat. If you want to send it to me directly, I'll make sure that we get it scheduled for inspection.
Thank you, Director Hardy. And then of course, always you can be in touch with Commissioner Bradshaw's office, myself or Robin, and we'll be happy to transfer the complaint concern to code compliance. Thank you. One question for code compliance: that there are still vacant houses in our neighborhoods that LLCs and developers have bought and seem to be sitting on. What is the best route for communities to report these issues? They're not violations per se, but an empty house is never good long-term.
So we have a vacant property registration requirement. So if there are locations within your communities you know are vacant, and you're just concerned about the potential violations that could occur, again, give our office a call, 404-687-3700, and we'll reach out to the owner of record and make sure that they're registered on our vacant property registration. There's typically a $100 registration fee the first time, and then you just have to update your information in subsequent years. That's the best way to kind of keep tabs on vacant properties.
Thank you. Hello, fiber optic cable is being installed along Rockbridge and Stevenson roads, and in the Southland subdivision, yards are being devastated with the digging. Homeowners would like to know that if underground sprinkler systems are damaged, how will they be repaired and who will incur the cost?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. Is anybody on board? Director Hardy, go ahead.
Yes, sir, Commissioner. The Public Service Commission regulates those kind of activities because all the utility companies that work in the public right of way, have to, I wouldn't say register, but they have to get permission or at least notify the Public Service Commission. There is a Public Service Commission representative for the area. I don't know the name of that person. Maybe that's something Alicia can maybe figure out, but typically you report that activity to the Public Service Commission and they'll have someone take a look at it.
Yes, we will definitely circle back with that contact information. Thank you.
You can also just reach out to me directly. I don't necessarily have the direct contact, but Public Works does. So if something happens with one of the utility companies damaging your yard, you can't get in touch with them directly. That's generally probably the first thing you should probably do is reach out with AT&T or whoever it is that did the damage. But we can try to figure out who to get you in touch with.
Thank you. All right. This is a comment. DeKalb Sanitation rocks. Love our local team from Victoria Webb. All right. How can diabetics safely dispose of used needles? Are you able to offer a suggestion or direct constituents to follow safe protocol procedures to do so? I think that's for Director Hutchinson, if she's still with us. Okay,
Yes, I'm still here. Yes.
Yeah.
If a resident has diabetes, which happens to be a lot of folks, put the needles in like a milk jug, put them in like a detergent jug. We just need to make sure that our employees, like once you put it in the trash, that it's in a plastic container, put the lid back on it and just put it in your regular trash. There is no exemptions for residential homes that have these needles. It's just that we're looking at the safety of our employees, but once they get in the truck, it's fine.
Thank you. Next question. Are there any senior home repair programs for District 4 similar to those provided in District 3?
We're looking at that. I think Commissioner Johnson has done a really good thing there. That's something we're looking at. I don't have a fully formed program yet, but it's certainly something that we're looking at.
Thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. And then generally, there is an overall senior repair program that is coordinated and executed by community development. So it's irrespective of your district, and we will be happy to share that information. So there is a program that DeKalb County seniors can follow up and apply, and they'll learn from community development of approval for any request, but we'll make sure you get that direct information. All right, next question. The organization, this is a statement. The organization that now owns Black Hall is not the one involved in the land swap. Wasn't a question posed as a question, it was a statement. So I don't know if anybody wants to, Shelby, if you want to weigh in on that. Okay, all right. Thank you. Very exciting news about film, video production facilities moving to Memorial Drive. Thanks to DeKalb Entertainment team for all of their hard work. Ms. Webb's comment. Mr. Benny, thanks everyone for your time and all the great information this morning. So who is responsible for enforcing Georgia Property Owners Association Act? That's similar to HOA, a homeowners association, and Director Hardy, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this, but I also live in an HOA, and I'll just piggyback with what Director Hardy said. There isn't for the county enforcing responsibility over these communities, either the PPO or the HOA. Director Hardy, anything you want to add?
No, I'm not familiar with that particular organization, but as I commented earlier, those are privately enforced declarations that each HOA and their members and their legal teams have to work out.
Thank you. All right, next question. This question is for Dr. Moana, and this is related, this question was Georgia, DeKalb County testing the wastewater.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually just typing the answer for Ms. Brooks, thinking that there not going to be enough time. So I just looked closer at the CDC website, and it doesn't look like there's data from the wastewater in DeKalb County or neighboring counties. So as I was mentioning, that the Department of Health sends data from the water to the CDC, and then the CDC kind of put that together and published that, but it doesn't look like there is data yet from Georgia, or at least DeKalb County yet on the wastewater here.
Thank you. All right, next question, comment. Welcome back, Robin, from Mr. Benny. And next question. Next question, the entire Central Drive between those streets on Central Drive, it's too difficult to stop on the road and look for the home address nearby. So we'll loop back, we'll follow back up with this question, okay? The last question, this is a problem on North Harrison and Memorial that has been going on for several months. They broke a water main just this week. Red pipes sticking up everywhere and the sidewalks are blocked. I'm not sure.
Where is it? Where is it, Alicia?
North Harrison and Memorial.
All right, we'll have to look at that.
We'll have Robin follow back up with Ms. Dunaway on that. All right, next question. Who do we contact specifically for the information on senior home repair programs? Thank you. We'll follow up with Mr. and Mrs. Glade on this and provide you with the contact information for community development. All right. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we got them done.
We're at 10:29. Everybody gets 1 minute of their life back. Okay.
All righty. I think that's it. And if we missed a question, because I think there was one or two where I wasn't clear about what the question was and who it was being asked to, we will definitely follow up in a response, in an email response to you if your question did not get answered. We'll be looking at all the questions and we'll be responsive to you next week. Thank you. I just want to thank everybody again for this Saturday morning. It's 10:30 on the nose. We worked out that adjustment and it worked quite well. Thank you. And Commissioner Bradshaw, any last final words from you?
Thank you to all the guests and all of the departments, as usual, for being so supportive of our efforts. I couldn't be more pleased with the job that all of you are doing. So thank you for that. And once again, thank the citizens who participated this morning on Saturday morning. Have a good rest of your weekend and be safe. And I'll yield back to the Chief of Staff.
Just enjoy this beautiful Saturday and thank you all so much, and look out for next meeting in July date. And we appreciate you all and the time that you've given to be on this call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.